Year. This is Tom Cloud with this week's Precious Metals Market Update. I call 2016 the year of risk and reward. We're going to be talking about this a lot during the year as you risk your hard-earned money into all the different baskets that are available to you: stocks, bonds, real estate, gold, silver, oil, platinum, palladium, mutual funds, insurance policies, real estate, investment trust, all these investments out there, and you've got to look at them and make these tough decisions as to where you're going to put your hard-earned money. And what I'm tracking and what we've talked about in the past is the government has just gotten way too big, way out of control. We're in an election year, and I do believe things will really start to hit the fan, and we'll start seeing major problems. Let me start with the first one. What happened in Puerto Rico yesterday, as I record this on Tuesday, the 5th of January. Puerto Rico, a country that's U.S. Controlled, the size of Oklahoma, with a gross domestic product the size of Kansas, is going into a default on their bonds of paying 8%. There are examples everywhere where people put their money there and had it there for 8, 9, 10 years, making 8%. And we wake up yesterday and they selectively choose a new term called clawback, which is the government's way of choosing who gets paid interest and who doesn't. And basically, a lot of people have lost their money just out of nowhere as these bonds were defaulted on yesterday, and there'll be many more bonds defaulted on as we picked up. We saw this starting in December as we saw what they call junk bonds, bonds paying high interest, but with low grades, not AAA, but A or B, low grade bonds out there in the risk. So this is in full throttle. It will accelerate. You will see a lot of stories in the Financial Times, Financial News, Wall Street Journal, business sections of papers about bonds being defaulted on this year because there's just no place for the revenue to come from. So hopefully you're not going to be in those. The risk reward year will involve looking at your principal and not so much your return. I think it's going to be the most important years. We review 2015. We see that gold went down, silver went down, palladium went down, platinum went down, stock market went down, bond market went down, oil went down. Everything went down basically. So certainly there were pockets of things that didn't go down, but as a whole, the whole investment market went down. As we talked about late last year, we're following the dollar very closely, and every time there's chaos in the world like we have right now going on with Saudi Arabia and Iran, this political, we've seen oil jump the last 2 days. Gold has gone up $20 while the stock market's gone down over 300 points the first day of the trading year. And this is going to be a very volatile year for all investments, but certainly with people talking about a World War III starting, bond defaults, we're going to see the dollar probably get pushed up for safety to start with, but we continue to still have the largest debt ratio, bigger than Europe, bigger than China, and yet people think this is a great place to park money, and it probably is on the short term because the full faith the government is behind these treasuries. So continue to watch this develop, but when that dollar turns, it's going to be a risk reward where you're going to want out of equities and you're going to want out of bonds as quickly as you can. And you're going to see, in my opinion, a very good year for gold and silver. Platinum and palladium we're going to wait and see how the world economy looks because they're industrial metals, as is silver to a large extent. So they'll have a big input into that as to how that is driven. So we'll keep an eye on that very closely. So hopefully gold will continue up. It's off to a very fast start, closing the year at 1,062. And as I record this, it's up to 1,082 in just one day and a few hours of trading. But the big story also in 2016, in my opinion, will be the vast shortage of physical metal and the potential default, COMEX default on delivery, which would not only send gold and silver up, but would send the premium, the amount you would have to pay to get that. Or if you're selling it, it's a good thing if the premium goes way up. So we're looking for a very positive year in both gold and silver. I don't want to predict any large percentage increases, but it does look a lot like 2008 with all the potential defaults. The other thing I want to bring to your attention is the startling numbers of over $1 trillion to run the government budget that the Congress and Senate passed in December. Now go back to 1980, just 35 years ago, and Jimmy Carter's budget was $500 million, not $1.1 trillion. People, if you don't think the government is out of control, that's over 2,200 times the size of government has grown in only 35 years. This is mind-boggling, mind-boggling. And where does that money come from? It just keeps getting printed. And we've talked about over the last part of the year, the M2 money supply now is 1.2 trillion, and that has doubled in 7 years since Obama went in. That's over 11% a year growth in the money supply, while gold only comes out the ground a little over 1% a year. So it doesn't take a genius to figure out when gold moves, as it always has and always will, you're going to have a huge move to the upside. And right now, in my opinion, is a time to increase your percentage in gold and silver because the risk is so low. I'm not going to tell you gold and silver couldn't go a little bit lower, because it could. But what I am telling you is other investment stocks, bonds, could go a lot lower quickly. So you just need to reallocate to get the percentages that you want going into 2016, and keep your ear to the news. FTM is doing a great job keeping you updated through their alerts, through their interviews, and I just urge you to stay in tune with that and watch what Jerry is saying about doing things. If you're not getting our newsletter, email blast, you can go to ftmdaily.com and sign up by going to the Precious Metals button, or go to FTM Daily /gold. We don't share your email with anyone. It's completely confidential. And also, if you have any questions, if you want to know how to get gold and silver into a precious metals IRA, give Dan, Kathleen, or I a call at 800-247-2812. That's 800-247-2812, and we'll be happy to tell you how to get a custodian and get physical precious metals into your IRA. And I think that's going to be the biggest growth in the business this year, because as people move out of bonds and stocks, even with small percentages going into gold and silver, could drastically affect the returns for 2016. So stay tuned, and we'll keep trying to bring news to you in this Precious Metals Market Update. With this week's Precious Metals Market Update, this is Tom Cloud signing out.